Love or money? Molly Clarkson lived in a large, beautiful house with her two children, Roger and Diane. The house was surrounded by a big garden and had many rooms. Molly was very proud of her home and wanted to keep it in the family. Roger, her son, wanted to sell the house to make money, but Molly refused. Diane, her daughter, also depended on Molly's money but had recently stopped receiving it. Molly's house and her decisions made the family members unhappy and created many problems. One day, Molly was found dead in her home. She had taken too many sleeping tablets mixed into her milk. Inspector Walsh arrived at the Clarkson estate to find out who was responsible for her death. The inspector first spoke to Molly's son, Roger Clarkson. "Roger," Inspector Walsh asked, "where were you the night your mother died?" "I was at home," Roger replied, looking nervous. "I had a lot of work to do. I didn't visit my mother that night." Inspector Walsh noted Roger's answer. Roger had wanted to sell the family home, which caused many arguments with Molly. This made Roger a possible suspect. Next, Inspector Walsh talked to Molly's daughter, Diane Clarkson. "Diane," the inspector asked, "what were you doing that night?" "I went to see my mother," Diane said, her voice shaking, "but she refused to give me more money. I was very angry, but I didn't want her dead." Diane was upset because Molly had stopped giving her money. She also thought Molly was responsible for their father's car accident, which made her even more angry. The inspector then spoke with Peter Hobbs, a local man who was upset with Molly. "Peter," Inspector Walsh asked, "why did you go to the Clarkson house that night?" "I wanted to talk to Roger," Peter explained. "Molly reported me to the police and I lost my job. I was angry and wanted to confront him, but nobody answered the door." Peter had visited the Clarkson house but couldn't get inside. His anger towards Molly made him a suspect, but he didn't get to speak with anyone that night. Tom Briggs, a farmer who wanted part of Molly's garden for his farm, was also questioned. "Tom," said the inspector, "what were you doing at the Clarkson house?" "I was there to talk to Roger about buying part of the garden," Tom replied. "It was important for my farm. After our talk, I went home." Although Tom was at the house, his interest in the garden did not strongly connect him to Molly's death. Finally, Inspector Walsh talked to Jackie, the housekeeper. Jackie had once loved Tom Briggs, but Molly didn't approve of their relationship. "Jackie," Inspector Walsh said, "we found an empty bottle of sleeping tablets in Diane's room. Can you explain?" Jackie looked worried. "I don't know how it got there," she said. "I didn't put it there." "Why were you at the Clarkson house that night?" the inspector asked. "I was trying to see Tom," Jackie replied. "I thought maybe we could be together again." Molly was always in the way. Jackie's story seemed suspicious. Under questioning, Jackie confessed to the crime. "I put the sleeping tablets in Molly's milk," Jackie said, crying. "I wanted to be with Tom, but Molly stopped me. I put the bottle in Diane's room to blame her." Jackie was arrested for poisoning Molly. The case was solved, but the Clarkson family was left with many problems. Despite their new wealth, their lives were full of sadness and betrayal. Inspector Walsh thought about how complicated and painful family relationships could be. He left the estate feeling that, even though the case was solved, the sadness and anger would remain for a long time. Thank you.